welcome back to a chapter a day. It is April 1st, Monday, April 1st. And since I don't do any of that April Fool stuff, I will just be recapping Exodus chapters 1 through 40, really just trying to focus on the main points or main events of the chapters. I finished reading Exodus yesterday, with the last chapter being chapter 40. So I'll be going into Leviticus next. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. I was going to do this video different with a different background, but my technological skills are so limited. When I thought I could do one thing, I realized when I started, I couldn't do that. So now I have to just revert. So you know what? I'm going to keep it simple. So I'm just going to recap Exodus chapters 1 through 40. So, in Exodus 1, we see Joseph has died. Since their time in Egypt, he was 110 years old. And things have changed for the children of Israel because there is a new Pharaoh who does not know Joseph, as he says. And this Pharaoh finds that the children of Israel are multiplying way too rapidly. So he decides, well, you know what, I got to put a cap on this because it looks like they might be outnumbering us and look to overtake us sometime. So he told the midwives when they were delivering the children for the Israelites, they were supposed to kill all the males. Well, they did not do that because they feared God more than the Pharaoh. And God did reward them. That's when Moses' mother had him and found he is just too precious a child for me to kill my child. Nope. So she hides him in a basket, puts him on the river Nile, and he just floats down. He may have been crying, or as a baby would. And Pharaoh's daughter happened to be at the river the same time and sees the basket, opens it up. There's this beautiful baby boy, and she decides she's keeping him. A little girl hiding in the bushes comes out to her and says, and later on we'll know that's Miriam, Moses' sister, most likely, and says, you know what, I know of a nurse that can take care of him for you. And Pharaoh's daughter says, okay, go ahead and bring her. And when Moses' nurse, aka his mother, came, she was given instructions to take care of him, and she would receive wages for doing so. So Moses knew that he was a Hebrew, and I'm sure his mother trained him in some of the Hebrew ways as well. So he acted as a mediator, I would say, sort of, between a Hebrew and an Egyptian, when the Egyptian was punishing a Hebrew, and Moses went in and maybe angrily he killed the Egyptian. It was known, and he had to flee from the fear of Pharaoh, and he went out into the desert, ended up in a place called Midian, where he met and married the daughter of a Midianite priest named Jethro. He worked as a shepherd, taking care of Jethro's flocks, and one day he encountered a flaming bush which did not seem to burn entirely. And from there, God spoke to him and told him that he needed him to go back to Egypt and confront Pharaoh to let the children of Israel go. By now, Pharaoh was really treating the people bad. He enslaved them in order maybe to weaken them and see how many of them may die out. So they were crying unto God, and God sent Moses. Now Moses was trying to find all kinds of excuses why he couldn't go. Finally, God said, fine, if you can't talk, you think you can, take Aaron with you. He's a good spokesman. And take this rod, and I will be using Aaron and this rod for you to convey my message to Pharaoh. So the first one was where Aaron's rod became a snake in front of all the other magicians, Egyptian magicians. They duplicated the sign as well. And one thing that happened was that Aaron's rod, snake rather, ate up all of those other snakes. So that should have told them, hey, this is no little flighty little bit of magic you're dealing with here. This is God. From there, there followed 10 plagues. After each one, Pharaoh pledged he would let the children of Israel go. He never did, until finally God said, you know what? I'm going to do this last plague. Number 10 is really going to bring him to his knees. I will be killing the firstborn of every Egyptian household. Whew. And that is what happened. He also told the children of Israel to go ahead and kill a lamb and put the blood on the doorposts of their homes. That is going to be a sign that they are an Israelite. When the angel of death comes in to destroy the firstborn males of the Egyptians, they will pass over any home that has the blood signs on the post. Therefore was established the celebration of the Passover. And God told them when they left Egypt, they were supposed to keep that as a sign between he and them, or a remembrance for their deliverance from Egypt. So, after that, let's see. So the firstborn of every male was killed, and Pharaoh and the whole of Egypt was lamenting, get out, get out, get out before you'll just destroy the whole of the land. So when they left, there were over 600,000 men. And I think that was not including women or children. And they left with spoils from the Egyptians, cattle and clothing and jewels, etc. And as they journeyed on, God gave them a pillar of cloud to guide them in the daytime, and a pillar of fire so they would know when to stop at night. God also promised them the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, and Jebusites, which he said he will totally eradicate from out of the land, and the land, it was flowing with milk and honey. So he showed them miracles and evidences of his leading, from parting the Red Sea. When they first left Egypt, they didn't go the way that they would have come, because remember, they came from Canaan. The original 70 of Jacob and his sons and wives, etc., came straight from Canaan. But because now there were people inhabiting the land, remember, they left, it's over 400 years now. Somebody else moved in, and they are not going to give up the land that easily. So God didn't want to discourage them by sending them straight into Canaan by the way they came originally. So he took them around a different route so that they did not become discouraged. But they encountered situations in which they complained to Moses and Aaron, and Moses and Aaron, and started talking about going back to Egypt, blah, blah, blah. And that's where God first had Moses part the Red Sea. Then God met with Moses, Aaron, and some of the other elders on top of Mount Sinai, while Moses was up there getting the 10 Commandments law written out for him by God's own finger on stone. Children of Israel are back there talking about, hey, we need a representation of God. Where's Moses? Hey, we have nobody to lead us. Let's get a God. So off comes the jewelry as Aaron asked them to take them off. In went the jewelry into the fire. Out came a calf, according to Aaron. Okay, so they were dancing and carrying on around this golden calf like pagans back in Egypt. And when God sent Moses down, Moses was so mad, he slammed the 10 Commandment tablets on the ground. And God said, you know what? Everybody who was inside of that nonsense, hey, they're going to die. So some men who were on God's side came out, and they had to do the killing of those idolaters. And the others were given a plague, which Moses tried to beg or intercede with God for, but God said, nay, 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 nay. They are the ones that sinned. They have to pay for it. So after that ordeal, I think they came to a time when water was not available. It was not good water to drink. And God told Moses, go ahead and take a tree, a certain tree, throw it into the water, and it will become drinkable. That's what Moses did, and the people drank water. Of course, after they grumbled and complained about Moses. So the bitter water became sweet. Then the one where manna rained from heaven, because they said, hey, we are running out of food, we need food. Okay, what shall we eat? We didn't starve in Egypt, we had flesh pots, etc., etc. We want meat. So God rained them down manna from heaven. He told them 6 days, gather 6th day, as a matter of fact, gather twice as much. Don't keep back any the other days except on the 6th day. Only take as much as you need for those days. Some people didn't listen. What happened? The manna began to rot. God worms threw away. God said, how long will you all be so hard-headed? Still asking us that there today, huh? So, whew, yes, so let's see. Then God gave Moses instructions for building the tabernacle. That is where God would meet with the people, where they would practice their sacrifices to him and offer their offerings to him, and where he would come down and meet with them and talk with them. So he chose craftsmen, he chose materials, he chose size for the sides and the types of tassels. He gave them every specification. And he even chose the workmen who would be doing all of the art, the craftsmanship. So God kept taking care of them. That's what he did all the way through Exodus, despite their grumbling and complaining. He got angry at them at times, and he dealt with them harshly. Not harshly, he dealt with them. Yeah. But they also, you know, they're the ones that bought the materials to build the tabernacle. And when it was all finished, Moses was pleased, and so was God. And he came down in the cloud over the tabernacle, and the people were able to see, yes, God is with us again. So after that, God told them, well, I will be with you in this cloud. When you see it, you know I am here. You move on. At night, you'll see the fire, the pillar of fire, and you know it's time to settle down. And that is it in a nutshell for Exodus chapters 1 through 40. I thank you all again for listening and following and commenting. I am still trying to figure out ways or a way in which I can change up something. God help me. I think and think and think, and I don't know, but I have until the next day. So God help me with some ideas overnight. And until our next reading or viewing, I pray that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember, faith comes by hearing God's word. Bye.